welcome to today's edition of URP Practical Talk. I'm your host, George Gonzalez, and today we have in the studio Dr. Vishnu Bandhu.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
Hey, good.
Great. So, well, let's just jump right into it. I know one of the things that have been in the news, but it seems like it kind of fell out, but still something of a big interest, especially for knowing you. I know living in
Region 3.
yeah, living in Region 3, the three-lane bridge.
Ah.
Yes.
Well, we have been opposing about the three-lane bridge. The URP doesn't think it's a good idea
Hmm.
of building a three-lane bridge. First of all, you have to understand one thing. What causes the traffic jam? It is because of opening of a bridge causing the traffic jam. And even the police on the west bank of the Mara where the bridge is, they can't control the traffic in the morning. Sometimes you see the whole road filled with car and the upcoming car can't even pass. If police cannot control it, right? 50 odd years ago, Burnham, 40 odd years I think, Burnham then built that bridge, an open bridge, because they find that it was more feasible to build that bridge at the time because Guyana didn't have money. But what the URP are saying, you mean instead of us going up, we are going down? Building a three-lane bridge with an opening will not solve our problem in Region 3. Because of the opening is the problem. And sometimes twice a day, they open the bridge for the day. So that's what causes the problem, you know. So you are up here saying, hey, why we don't even have money to build a flat bridge? We have to take a loan to build it. Why don't we take a loan and build a flyover bridge, which traffic will flow 24/7? The ship does not have to anchor out there; they can cross at any time they want to cross. You save money on doing that, and you would not have a traffic jam because people will realize that anytime they can cross on these bridges, anytime they can cross on the bridges. Now our government are saying about oil will bring in so much money. And if oil will bring in so much money, then we don't have no problem in paying for a bridge, you know? And there are a lot of investors out there, billionaire investors, who would love to invest in these projects. I have been traveling a lot, and I can tell you that. I have lived more than half of my life in the United States. And I have a fairly good idea about investors, what they're doing. I'm a businessman all my life. I know how to go about doing it. Right? So I haven't seen a problem in making a flyover four-lane bridge. I know a couple months ago they start talk about this three-lane bridge, and they start to get bulldozing, so bulldozing places over there on the West Bank, and so I saw everything, at a halt right now, you know. But government should really consider to make a flyover bridge where we can able to travel 24/7 without no problem, and I'm guaranteeing you that if that happens, we don't have the kind of traffic jam what we are having, because the West Mr is a very populated area. It might be soon it might be one of the most populated place in this country because of all these schemes and all these things that they open on the West Mr. It's a very important place, and we have to look at it very seriously what we are doing. So we are against a three-lane flat bridge with an opening for the Demar River, right? We are appealing to the government, let them recheck and see if it does make sense what we are saying, you know. and move on and make a flyover bridge instead of a flat bridge. So we can have traffic freely all the time.
So essentially, that it may be expensive, but it'll definitely be worth it.
Definitely worth it. It
Mm.
will definitely worth it.
Mm.
You know,
Oh,
right? We want to move on in life in our country. We don't want to be stagnant. You know, we don't want to go back in the 40s and 50s. We want to go ahead. You know,
yeah. And so I want to, well, I guess, still keep the topic on that region. And one big thing that's affected that region as of late is, of course, the closure of the Wales sugar estate. So that, like, what is the URP's viewpoint on that?
on the sugar estate.
Well, yeah, the closure of the Wales sugar estate.
Well, since the closure of the sugar estate at Wales, it has been very, very difficult for the people in those areas. I guess if they didn't have families and so overseas, many would be starving. I know many are starving right now, but many more would have been starving if had it not been for relatives and friends overseas to help in that area. Now that is we call a depressed area. What I would like to suggest again in an area like that, as a depressed area, because remember one time in Linden we talked about Linden is a depressed area, so they wasn't charging them even electricity at one time. Now they're paying a little stipend of electricity. Now government should consider the same thing as they close down the Wales sugar estate. They should consider and look at that area, the depressed area also, and cut down on electricity and all these things so that the people can survive in that area.
Mhm.
You know, I haven't seen that the PPP saying anything about these things because if the PPP, who had, I was made to understand in 2011, put Wales Estate and the Chaplain Black to close down.
Mhm.
But they go back now and they're telling the people, hey, you see the government closed down the sugar estate,
Mhm.
you know? Look what they do. But they didn't say they had recommended that before
Mhm.
for it to close. You know? The other day, Barajagde, the former president, was in there. They gave us some handout. I think about $1,200, $1,300, a little shit to go to the shop and get grocery.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't know if somebody could not open their mouth and answer him if this 12 $1,300 shit will able to keep us on for the year.
Mhm.
You know, he can't even survive for a month with that kind of money because of cost of living today.
Mhm.
You know, so these guys create all this mischief, and then they go back and play like they're saint. They doesn't know anything about it. You know, but unfortunately, you know, it's unfortunately that the government also didn't look at it very carefully before they go and close that estate down. You know, the same thing they did with the Skeldon Rosal estate, you know, Kanji Rosal, you know, the closure, and it was very good that the government decided to hold back on that and, you know, don't close it. Because look how many people you're putting out of jobs. Look how many people you're putting out of job. And that is why we always say, umpteen times we are saying over and over, Guyana is an agricultural country. We spend billions of dollars to make the infrastructure of this estate. Billions of dollars being spent. Why before you chip up the estate piece by piece and make scheme and all these things, why don't we use it for agricultural purpose? Let us use it, turn sugar apart into ethanol, where we talk about going green. You know, we already have the people to work it. Because if when these people leave the job and for them to start back, you wouldn't get them to cut cane anymore
Yeah.
because they already leave,
Yeah.
right? This is a simple example. Even Trinidad had the same problem. When you see the oil, they start getting oil, everybody forget about farming. They forget about farming and they got the oil. Oil got big money according to them, you know. Today they have to import food. They was self sufficient before. Now you got to import food. So are we going down the same line in Guyana? Huh? Guyana is an agricultural country. That is why the URP keep on talking about agriculture, you know, to develop agriculture, develop all the present farming and things like that, where you have an expanded more, you know, bring in manufacture, create job for people. But the government doesn't seem to understand that. Everybody think that oil will bring big money, and we'll be happy in Guyana, but that's not true. Uh, I do not know how long this oil will last, because the whole world are trying to go green today because of pollution. As I said in an earlier program, the oil lords in the world said that they estimate oil will go down, fuel will go down up to $10 a barrel.
Yeah.
So if $10 fuel go down a barrel, then they can't pull up oil, because they wouldn't pull up oil to lose. They're pulling up oil to make a profit, not to lose. And electrical car or everything going on today, all over the world, they start to make electrical car. Even fuel. I was made to understand China taking water and make fuel today because of technology. So there's so much a high technology going on in the world. Every day, new technology comes in. So we have to be very careful what we are doing and what we are saying. So the Wales estate, I'm saying that the government should look at it very seriously. It's a depressed area. Treat them like how you had treat the Linden area. You know, bring down the cost of like electricity and all these things so that the people can survive. I was hoping that like the opposition party, former President Barjagdi would have made those kind of recommendations, you know, because of a depressed area now. You put them out of bread. They don't have money. They hardly have money to buy food. Where would they get money to electricity and all these things? The pensioner even can't survive with what they're getting.
I'm sorry to cut you there, but I find it interesting to note that it actually seems that he has come out and said that, well, if the PPP gets back in office, that he will personally look into their case, but he hasn't made that recommendation and say, hey, government, these people are suffering now. Help them out now. I find that interesting.
Some time ago, a few months back too, he made a statement saying that if he go back in government, he will pay these sugar worker until they receive job. What a crazy thing you say. The people had a job and you can't pay them in time. You gonna pay them when they're out of job till they get a job? Huh? Anybody who accept that and who take that, something wrong with their brain. So I don't know where this guy coming up with all these kind of things.
And I fear because that when you make promises like that, it can often lead to some people almost even getting a dependency syndrome now.
Yeah.
It's sort of like it doesn't matter. I don't need the job, because if he's going to continue to pay me, then why go and look for a job?
Yeah. So it's craziness. They come up with all these political gimmick, and I call it like political tricks, and people are not catching on what these guys doing. People are not catching on what they're doing. They are so blinded by race and all these things. That is why the URP are trying to educate people, trying to let them understand better in the political field. Try to educate yourself politically in Guyana, because people are so ignorant in this country where politics is concerned. If you ask them what the policy of the PPP. They can't tell you. They don't know PPP is a communist political party. Eh?
Mm.
You ask them what the policy of the PNC, they know it's a socialist party and what it means.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
they all know.
Their youth group literally has the word socialist in it. Yeah.
This is what we know. We grew up in this and we following this, like blind leading the blind.
Mm.
You know, and we ain't going nowhere. You know,
Mm.
you know this is a communist political party that does not believe in God. You believe in God. You vote for them who doesn't believe what you believe in to run your life.
Mm.
Eh? How do you think God will really bless us in this country? Eh?
Oh,
You say God is not there,
Mm.
and you believe in God, and you voting for the man who does not believe in God.
Mm.
Huh?
Yeah.
So where are we going?
Mm. That
You see?
I'm not sure. Yeah, but it does
Yeah.
create a.
That is why
Yeah.
the URP are saying, look, we strongly believe that the law of the land must combine with God law. The law of the land must combine with God law. And this is what makes the United States so powerful. Because everything they put, like on their bill, in God we trust. You put God forward instead of backbench. A lot of people in this country, when they meet me, say, man, Doc, how come you talking? I never hear political leaders and political people talk about God,
Mhm.
and you talking about God. But I believe strongly that there are supreme being who we call God, and we have to combine our law with that supreme being law for us to move forward in life. You know, and I'm telling you, we will have a change in 2020
Right.
in
Wow.
this country.
Ah, ah. And so, well, I want to, bring it back to current events. And, well, of course, the big thing that's been going on politically again is the current court case against Winston Brassington and Dr. Ashley Singh. What is the URP's viewpoint on that?
I don't think that case will get anywhere
Hmm.
because you have to understand one thing. All these guys, they were ministers and so forth, and they all have been working with the approval of the President Bara Jagdev. And Bara Jagdev has been giving them instruction what to do and what not to do. Right? Bara Jagdev should be answer for those things, not these guys, because they have been working like you're a manager. You have the employees that work under you. You're responsible for what is happening. You know, and Barajagde has been micromanaging Guyana. So it means every minister before they do anything of importance, they have to pass it by him. That's how it was going. Micromanaging. Because he realized that these guys wasn't doing enough. So he placed himself in that position of micromanaging. You know. So I do not think that case will go very far. Our government can, win the case because I think the taxpayers' money has been wasting enormously in Guyana in all these investigation in this and that and get nothing out of it really. You know, how many people when they campaign they say they'll put so many people in jail and this and that and we know these people steal. We all know that they steal, but prove how they steal it. Prove it. It's a hard thing for you to prove. But we know that they steal. Right? But you can't prove it. So the same thing, they know that, but they cannot, it's very difficult for you to prove it.
Yeah.
You know? Because these guys smart. They know how to cook up things. Where they get money from and where they do this and where they do that. you know. So I do not think that it will go very far, and I think the government is wasting money, taxpayers' money, in all these things what they are doing, because nothing coming out of there. How many people you see get charged already from the past government? None.
No?
Yeah, none.
And
Yeah,
there's even, some would argue, there's some even blatant cases, or
yeah,
cases that should, in most people's opinions, should be easily prosecutable, that
yeah,
we're not really seeing, or we don't know, like what's the progress of it
yeah,
now. You know,
yeah.
I cite the example of the Jennifer Westford case.
Mhm.
You know, that came up, and not really
Yeah,
sure what's the progress of it now. But,
yeah. So this thing will suddenly vanish. They're wiped out. We're wasting the people money where the money can be used to do different things. Just wasting money all the time.
And yes, so, well, I guess, speaking of money, or on the topic of money, and of the and land, because of course that was the
Mm.
the biggest thing, that the land issue was about.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
that I'm told there was an issue recently in Linden regarding the PNC and house lots, or rather handouts of house lots. Like, could you
Well,
tell me a
well.
little bit about that?
No, I think the PNC had been starting their what you calling buying votes. In Linden they have been giving out a lot of hampers, foods, clothes, um, tools, and so to people. Putting up one, two benches here and there, and so forth. I am not against that to do that, but if you do it from one area, you should look at other area and do the same thing. Look at Wales, do the same thing at Wales,
Hmm.
because it's a depressed area. Why don't you serve them too? Or they only go where they think that they will get votes in that area. It's all about vote for these people, for this party. It's not about the people, it's about votes, right? And this is why I've said earlier, Guyana need a government for all the people. What you're doing for Linden, you should do for Wales too, because it's a depressed area. If you call Linden a depressed area, you know, I don't know if you know, Linden was a very thriving town, right? Years ago, when I was a young man, when the highway just opened in the early 70s, I used to go up in Linden. And when I go there and I sat down with my friends, in the space of 5 to 10 minutes, our table full with all kind of liquor, all kind of drinks, all kind of cutters, and I could not have pushed my hand in my pocket and take out $1 to pay for it. It was an insult to those guys because they were so proud people in Linden those days. And it is sad. So many years after, you come back and you run into the same guy that says, "Man, can you buy a beer for me? Can you buy a quarter?" You know, I feel like crying when those things happen because I know where these guys was and what bring them down like that. Our political situation in Guyana. Selfish people that who runs the government. They're all for themselves. They don't care about anything. You know, it's just like we had our railroad in Guyana here when a young man, we traveling railroad.
Yeah.
We had from Porica to Freedom Hope. We had from Rosignal to Georgetown.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
Burnham destroy everything, pull away everything, send it to Zambia.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what the biggest mistake he ever made. Every progressive country has railroad. And the URP are saying that we should put back railroad in Guyana. You know, we should be able to have railroad to make transportation cheap for people. Transportation is very, very important in any nation. You know, we have to be able
Yeah.
to subsidize transportation. You know,
And
we are we are talking about running railroad from let them coming right down. You know, so you can able to serve people. Even you can even bring things
yeah.
from um, Brazil. right through.
And I actually I've done some research and I'm told that that it was actually proposed by several investors in the past, but again, it seems like the politics of the day at the time when it was proposed had stopped that effort from
Well,
really.
you see what happened in our country, our beautiful country. These greedy politicians. If somebody come with a proposal and no matter how it's good, first thing they do, they put their hand under the table. If you can't put something here for them, well, then the deal can't go through. That has been happening the PPP time, and I'm sure it's happening in this time too. Right? It's no different. Corruption is the highest level. You know, no matter what they put, you got corruption. Yeah. Look, yesterday I was traveling at Vreden, who, and my driver was pointing out. He said, "You see that car there? It's a Tacoma, a nice looking Tacoma." He said, "You know who owned that? A traffic police owned it."
Mm.
You know?
Mm.
I said, "Well, you know, all the pork what he collecting from people, the bribe, you know." And we would not stop with this until we don't bring in the real law and order in Guyana. This thing would not stop. Right? The law is there, but it's not implemented. They don't want it to implement it because many of the ministers and government employees, they implement these laws, they will be behind bars. In the past government and this government too. I'm telling you, they'll be behind bars. You know. But they do not want to implement the law. They're only talking all the time. Like the last government, when people was saying that this minister, that minister corrupt and so forth, you all should knock them off. Why they don't knock them off? You know why? Because every one of them got something to hide. Because if you knock this one off, this one go talk on the other one. The other one will talk on the other one.
Mm-hmm.
So they always have something to hide. And the same thing happening in this government. You take in a minister, you want to move him from his ministry, you put him in a ministry where you don't know nothing about. Eh? We keep on doing that all the time. The last administration, this administration. So where are we going? We are not going nowhere, my brother. We are not going forward. We are keep on going backward all the time. Because we are not doing the right thing. And I can't blame them too, because if you don't know the right thing, how would you do the right thing? So I can't, blame who are in charge here. As I said, for the 50 odd years, we keep on having square pegs in round hole in this country. We keep on having that. And we are not moving from there. Because we do not want to move. And I'm not blaming this handful of people. I am blaming the people in this country who are suffering. Eh? Look, we are going back like slavery days now with what's happening here. Because people can't get 3 square meals a day. So I'm appealing to you out there, please think carefully. Get involved in your country politics so that you can understand things. You will be able to know things, especially the young people. The young people don't only complain, but be a part of something to make a difference in this country. And URP is your choice. URP is the only political party will able to make a difference in Guyana. And I thank you and God bless you. Yeah, thank you, George.
Thank you.
Well, good.
Yes, thank you for speaking with us tonight.
Yeah.
So, yes, that is all the time that we have for today's edition of URP Practical Talk. Again, my name is George Gonzalez, your host for this show. And as always, we would like for you to check out URP at our Facebook page, URP Guyana, or you can even go to the website, www.urpguyana.com. Thanks for watching.